Okay, I call the Board of Adjustments meeting for Thursday, March 23rd, 2017 to order. Roll call vote, or roll call,
General,
Present.
White,
yes.
Fox,
Here.
Herder,
Yes.
Pierce.
Here.
Let the record show that all members are present.
Okay, you had a chance to look over last month's minutes. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, I would ask for a motion.
Make a motion to approve them.
Second. Then moved to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. We'll get to the public hearing in just a second. I've got to read a statement. The public hearings will be conducted pursuant to the board's rules of procedures as adopted May 26, 1988. We will first hear the report of the planning director on the detailed information and observations regarding the request, if not done so in written form prior to the hearing. Next, we will take the testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I will call upon members of the audience wishing to make a statement concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request will be heard first, followed by those that oppose it. At any time during the presentation of testimony, the member of the board may interrupt to ask questions or to make comments on what has been said. Upon completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement to the board. Upon completion of the applicant's closing statement, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the request. After the public hearing has been closed, we will then hear the recommendation, if any, of the planning director. And upon completion of all discussion, I will entertain a motion from the members of the board regarding the disposition of the application. Each speaker addressing the board shall step forward to the podium, state their name and address before proceeding with the testimony or evidence. I would ask that you would spell your last name. This board shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that it may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions relating to the admissibility of evidence, which may be overruled by a majority of the board. The board may grant continuance in the case of good cause shown to any interested party who has entered his appearance. The board may at any time request a continuance of a hearing for the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for such other reasons as the board may find sufficient. In such case, we shall state the specific reason for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official action of this board will be made in a public hearing by motion made, seconded, and a polling of the membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amendment thereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this board. Once this board has reached a decision on a case, that decision shall be final. Section 335.18 of the Code of Iowa states, any person or persons jointly or severely aggravated by any decision of the Board of Adjustments under the provision of Chapter 335, or any taxpayer or any officer, department, board, or bureau of the county, may present to a court of record a petition duly verified setting forth that such decision was illegal, in whole or in part, specifying the grounds of the illegality. Such petition shall be presented to the court within 30 days after filing the decision of the office of the board. Upon hearing that, I would ask for a motion to open public hearing on case CU 2017-01, Chad Hancock.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Someone from Chad Hancock or some representative would like to come up and
My name is Chad Hancock, Hancock. And what we're applying for is an application for the conditional use of a permit at a residential property in order to buy or sell equipment or trucks. I think there's been a big misunderstanding throughout the people around me that we're gonna have 25 or 50, vehicles at our property. And having traffic coming up, purchasing them. And we're anticipating doing this online. Other equipment that we want to buy involves, stuff to cut trees, to bring rock in for our road, stuff like that I can do. I've put a lot of my own money into the road already. And the main goal of this is to prevent or to offset the taxes when I purchase a piece of equipment, then we can use it and then I can resell it without that additional expense. I do a lot of the road maintenance out there already. I would say 90% or more of it. I've put more money into the road than I already know has been put into the fund itself, $6,000 or more. I've talked to Art, which is here, and he had let me know that he understood that, we do the snow removal, maintain the road. Some other people have thanked me a lot for maintaining the road. And I think that's a lot of what they're worried about is the road traffic coming up there, which is gonna be a non-issue, based on how we wanna purchase and sell things. I know there's some concern about putting a building up. We unfortunately had a bad fire, December 3rd, which set us back about 5 years. We almost lost our company. Luckily, we were able to save that and move beyond that. We've been bringing dirt in recently in order to reinforce the dam that was put up. The water would flow through our property and then flood the neighbor consequently below us. So the previous owner that ran a company out of there, they built the dam to slow the water down. In talking with the DNR out of Field Office 4 in Atlantic, there was concerns about when the trees are growing in the dam, the roots start growing back. When it's full of water, the concern is that the water starts following those tree roots and we don't want erosion. So we're essentially bringing dirt in and soil right now to add to the dam that's there and move it back. And that way we can cut those trees down if they're dead, and then as well as maintain the trees that are already there. Like I said, a lot of what I think people are concerned about is they're misinformed that we're gonna have, 25 or 50 trucks. And we're talking, 5 to maybe 10 pieces of equipment a year that we're anticipating buying, using, selling, that type of thing.
It says you're 1 to 2 trucks per month online.
Yeah,
What your application
so I mean,
says,
it's,
no
and
18-wheeler.
I'm saying worst case scenario. And I don't wanna say that it's a few trucks and then we have 4 up there and then have neighbors upset. And I talked with Matt when I went up and got information about applying for this. And he said, if you're gonna be doing, 6 or more trucks a year, this is probably something that you should do. And I understand that I could do 5 or 6 in my name, 5 or 6 in my wife's name.
Right.
And I could avoid this whole thing and not actually have to have this. But I'm not trying to be deceitful. I'm not trying to, overshadow the fact of any concerns that my neighbors have of doing this. And I guess that would be the biggest thing. So.
So basically you're talking this is mostly online. If you wanted to sell a truck to me, you'd find it online,
Yes, sir.
call me and say my truck's, it said here you're gonna unload it.
We have talked to Dallas Johnson already, and they said we could unload equipment there. And then we've also talked with Caterpillar of Council Bluffs, and they said we could unload equipment there. So we would not have any semis up there, no delivery trucks, nothing like that. And then we don't even work on the equipment on our property. We actually take that somewhere else. And so we're not doing maintenance and working on stuff and having trucks sitting around that are, piecemealed out and, oh, there's a part, go down and get it. So a big thing too, this is my property as well. So I'm very concerned on my own behalf that I'm not going to devaluate my own value of my own property. And then I know a fence, Matt had brought up, something about a fence. And that may or may not be a concern. If it was, decided by the board that we need to put a fence up in a certain area, we can. Downside is I think it devaluates the area. We're at the very top of the road, Not a lot of people can see it. There's a few neighbors that can see it. Since I purchased the property about 6 years ago, we've done a lot of cleanup, cut a lot of trees down that were dying and or dead, cleaned out washouts and dug all the rock and concrete pieces that were put in that kept making the washouts worse, and they kept adding rock and gravel in there. So we dug all that out and then put actual soil in there, and then, put netting down, and we actually got grass growing in there. And we've tried to, since we've purchased it, improve what was there. And
What was the previous business that had been there, you said?
it was Council Bluffs waterproofing was there, and now we're Council Bluffs Septic. But the big concern, I know when I moved in, the neighbors or the neighbors had all come to me, and they said the worst thing that we didn't like, because they had about 10 employees, is from what I was told, and they drove fast up and down the road all the time. And that's one of my biggest advocate things, and is slow down on the road. There's kids from the bottom of that road all the way to the top, even at my property. And I'm a big advocate on getting people to slow down. And there's someone here that's actually here to support me. And I have let her know a few times that your daughter needs to slow down on the road. So she knows already. So, but, it's one of those things that, I do a lot of the road maintenance and try to keep the potholes filled in. And a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, the county had done some grading, but then they start and stop, before our road. And there was about a 4 or 5 inch lip where you go out. And I went up there for about an hour and a half and scraped and regraded and got everything smoothed back out. And one gentleman over here in the shirt over here on the end, he had actually stopped and thanked me for all the work that I do on the road. And so I thought that was really nice, because that was the first time he had ever done that in all the years that I've been out there. But I like I said, I think the big concern is that people are just misinformed on the situation of what I'm trying to do.
And then your septic business is probably also a little concerned. What is your septic business? Is that, how do you run that?
The trucks leave in the morning.
How many trucks?
One, we have actually 3 licensed trucks. We have 2 that we run, that can run every day. Typically, it's just 1. So they leave, go do the work job, dump at the sewer plant, and then come back at the end of the day.
Okay.
During the day, we've got 3 small service trucks. I mean, there's only 2 employees, so it's me and one other gentleman. So if I've got to come and get a lift pump or a part or something, then I go up and get it and then leave again. So there's not a lot of traffic based from that. But it's, there was concerns about 3 years ago that our trucks were making the potholes in the road. But about halfway up the road, then there was no potholes. And it's in the low spot of our road, and that was why I initially bought this new smaller dump truck, so we could put some rock in those soft spots. And then about a month ago, somebody came to me and they wanted me to, look into digging the ditches out for better water drainage. And I said, you know what, I've got an excavator that we can go down through the ditches on both sides and we can dig those out, and that's not a problem. And so it was, I'm definitely an advocate of helping everybody, and I don't think there's anybody in the neighborhood of where we're at that I haven't helped.
Did you haul that dirt away then, or what'd you do with that?
We haven't done that yet.
Okay.
That was just something.
Will you haul that dirt away, you think, or do you have a place for it?
Well, I can actually take it up to my property.
Okay.
The other solution that they were talking about was if we could get enough money in our road fund, we could actually put it on top of the road, and then we could actually
Level that up.
we could actually put gravel back on top. There was some concern. About a year ago, I had put about $6,000 of my own money in the road and gravelled it and did asphalt grindings so they would pack in. And a neighbor had gone down and pulled dirt up onto the road and actually turned everything back to mush. So we almost crashed one of our trucks coming down out of our driveway. Something I should not have done. I put 3 loads of dirt at the end of his driveway. Wrong on my part. I completely agree. It was wrong on my part. Him and his wife came up and talked to me. And he informed her that he was going to talk to the neighbors before he did it. And he did not do that. He did not inform her. So when she got up there, I think she was a little bit more understanding for my position of why I was upset. I went down, I cleaned all the dirt back up, and I actually brought gravel, re-gravelled, smoothed everything back out for them, took them a big box of steaks, and tried to make amends with them, and they said everything was fine. That was a bad decision on my part, and I agree. I was just upset that I had put that much money out to try to improve the road, and then to have that done, and then to find out that nobody knew about it. So that was a bad decision, very, very, very bad. So, but I tried to make it right, so.
But if you haul this dirt, you put that in trucks and haul it down that same road?
What's that, I'm sorry?
When you clean out the ditches, you'll put that dirt in trucks and haul down that same road?
Well, with that small truck that I bought to
Right.
to bring gravel in, I can put it right in the truck, so we can actually save the road that's there and then add to it, or we can put it on the road itself, as long as we've got money in our fund. And the problem is we don't have any money in our fund, and that's why it comes out of my pocket, because I want to maintain the road. If somebody comes to my house, I want it nice. If somebody comes to the neighbor's house, it should be nice.
Are you at the end of the road? Where are you?
I am at the end.
You're at the very end?
The road's pretty flat, and then right as you enter my property, it goes clear up to the top. So I'm way, way up top on a plateau. Yes.
How heavy are your septic trucks?
When they're empty, they're about 10 tons, so about 20,000 pounds.
And then, do they go up there full?
No,
So they're always empty?
yes. Occasionally, they could be loaded. If something breaks on a truck and we can't get to the sewer plant, we may come up there and fix something or try to remedy, or we will offload that, if they're nearby, we'll offload that onto a truck that's not broken and then haul that to the sewer plant, and then we'll take that fully loaded truck and go dump it and take the broken truck to somebody else to fix it. So
So you have 3 that are about 20,000 tons?
actually they get smaller. There's they'd be about 10 tons. 2 of them that are about 10 tons and one that's probably 8 tons.
What are the trucks you're planning on selling?
Mainly the same type of trucks. So we have a front axle and then 2 rear axles. And that's kind of what I'm finding is after a truck's burnt, we started talking to other septic companies to find out if they had any trucks for sale or anything like that. And what we were finding were there's nothing in the area without going to one coast or the other or Pennsylvania to be able to find a usable, decent truck. So I've talked to 2 or 3 already that are like, if you can find me this truck, I'll buy it. So that's kind of what.
And you don't have that sitting on your property, that's overline, that's online?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep, that is correct.
But it would come to your property when it got delivered, and you delivered it to someone?
Yes, yes. So that would be delivered to like Dallas Johnson, then we drive it up there and park it along with, our other 3 trucks that we have. We do also have an 18-wheeler. It's 42 foot long, so it's smaller than a normal semi. And we no longer keep that at our property. That's kept down south in Mills County. So that's not out there anymore.
Do you have a written agreement with Dallas Johnson?
No, I do not.
So
No, it's just a verbal agreement, yes. And I do not have a written one with Caterpillar as well. So it's just a verbal agreement with both of them, that if I need to unload something, and a lot of it is because we do work with both of them, and I've just been, I talk to them, and they're like, yeah, if
The
you come
Dallas
in here.
Greenhouse is your primary, and what's your backup, if that,
Dallas Johnson,
or Dallas
it
Johnson?
would probably be the primary, because it's the closest. And then Caterpillar is a little farther away, so that would be the secondary, yes. So,
How many feet long are your septic trucks?
um,
About.
I would say maybe 26 feet.
Is that the longest ones?
Yeah, that would be the longest. And they would be shorter from there, yes, correct.
So about 20, the other ones?
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably correct, yes.
Anything else?
I would say probably 24. I'm kind of comparing it to a boat that I used to own, based on the length of that.
Okay, anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone
Thank
else
you for
want
your
to
time.
speak in favor?
Hello, my name is Buffy Graham. It's Graham, and I live down the street. First of all, I want to say we're for this business. Chad is a true entrepreneur, and we're glad that they can do something like this. They own their property, and I feel they can do whatever they want on their property as long as it doesn't affect the rest of us. He has the longest stretch of road that goes up to his house. The rest of us have, I'm the second house on the road, so I don't have as much property or as much road coming up to my house. And Chad has always done a good job about filling in potholes, or if his trucks, kind of got off in the grass when we had to go by him, he's always fixed it for us. So I don't feel this type of business would be any different than what he's already been doing. And I feel that my husband and I will support him, and it does not affect our lives at all, as long as he helps maintain the road, which he has done in the time that he has lived there. So I feel I'm for it, and I have no objections.
You're the closest neighbor then?
No, I'm not I'm the closest to, the second to the road. So I don't have as much road going up to my house as he does. But, we all drive on the road, and I have the teenage daughter that drives a little fast sometimes. So yeah, so we're telling her to slow down. So, and that all affects all of us. I have a small child, and we have dogs, we have pets, all that kind of stuff that goes out there. His drivers have always been good to slow down, not be flying up the road, because it is gravel, and, it does bring up the dust and everything. So everybody has been, good about doing that, for the most part, so.
How many homes are on that road?
6, is there 6? 8, okay.
8 homes?
Okay.
And you don't have any homeowners or association?
We have a road association, we don't have like a homeowners association. It's, all the houses were pretty much built in the 70s out there, so
Yeah.
it's not a association like there is now. But we all do own the road, or I guess we don't own the road, we maintain the road. My husband has been part of it, Chad's been a big part of it, Dirk, the same thing. So we've, over the years, we've all maintained that road because that's what we do, and we want to get out if we need to, so.
I live on the same kind of thing, and
Uh-huh.
people like Chad that do all that stuff, they're like gold and down my street, because they do, they help
Exactly,
everybody,
yeah.
and we've had a couple of them, our neighbors, and they're just,
Well, exactly, yeah, I mean, between my husband Dirk and Chad, we've lived out there for close to 20 years now. We've maintained the road, when it snows, and they're all out there, everybody gets together if we need to, fill in potholes, and they've all done that, and Chad's been a big part of that, and by putting more rock on the road and different things, and I know some of the dump trucks are going up there now, and I know he'll go back down there and make sure everything's set, from the dump truck disturbances and stuff like that, for hauling the soil up there, but he's always been helpful, and I don't feel it's not affecting me in any way, so I don't feel there's a reason to say this is a bad decision, other than, great, be an entrepreneur, get more business, so. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else want to speak in favor?
Sorry about that. I thought I had it turned off.
That's fine.
I'm Roger Wall. I own the property at 13537 Pioneer Acres. I'm about 1 foot out of the 500-foot range as you come down the hill. I've owned the property for about 30 years. They had a road association, or they have one. I've never been invited to a meeting. But I did send $100 to them off and on in the early years when they notified me they had a meeting and needed some of that. I haven't heard from them in the last 5 or 6 years.
I'll bet you
But
will.
I think, I don't tell Chad that or he'll start sending me a bill. But I've seen trucks go up and down there before when the other business was there. There were more trucks going up and down there, and I'm out there to do some maintenance on the property occasionally, and I've seen Chad and his trucks go by once in a while, no problems. I see no problem with what he has planned. I don't see it bothering the value of my property or creating a problem. And the road, I don't pay anything to repair it, but it stays repaired. So I'm thankful for that, but I would support Chad in doing this. I don't feel he's a detriment to the neighborhood and probably in the long run, helpful to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor?
My name's Tony Vogel. That's Vogel. I live at 13605 Pioneer Acres. I'm Chad's next door neighbor. Basically, his only next door neighbor. I moved out there because I didn't want city ordinances. I didn't want people telling me what to do. I feel that's all Chad's doing. The only concerns that I have are when you change zoning laws, you're allowed to do anything within those zoning laws. And my only request is that he's limited to do only what he's asking to do.
That's correct.
And of course, I'm concerned about my property value, but I don't feel that it's going to drop. That's my two concerns. But I don't have any other concerns. He keeps to himself. I mean, that dam he was talking about is between my property and his. His property's here, the dam's here, and my property's here. So I can see his property, but it's not an eyesore. It wouldn't be an eyesore.
Just to answer your question, as far as what they applied for, you're exactly right. I would be concerned about that too. But the way this works is that we can put stipulations on it. Say, I'll just throw out a number. Say 5 trucks. The minute he gets to 10 trucks or 15 trucks, that office goes out and this goes away.
It's not a change in his actual zoning of
It's
the
not a
property.
zoning change.
It's still A4 zoning. It's just a conditional use permit, which
So they can have
allows,
a business.
in the A4 district, you have a bunch of listed conditional uses. And you have to come before the board to get a conditional use permit, which then, if granted, allows you to conduct that activity under certain stipulations possibly imposed by the board. So,
I understand.
okay.
I just don't want to use car lot up there.
No, that's why I say we could put a stipulation on how many you can have. We've had that in the past, and you can have this many, and if you go over that many, then you're a violation of the ruling, and then the county takes care of it.
How visible is it from your home to where you think he would have his trucks? Can you tell that, or?
When I walk out my back door, I can look at it, I can see his house. But it's up on the hill, and then the dam that he's talking about his house is here, the dam is here. And I believe
And where
he's
are you?
down here.
Okay,
So I can see straight up to his house, and the dam is here. I believe he's talking about up here.
so it would be above your vision, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I'd have to look up at it. I mean, I could see it, but like he said, along the dam is where all those trees are also.
So it'd be kind of hard to see.
And the character of Chad, he slid his tractor through my fence a while back, and his employees were afraid I was going to come up there and pound him or something. The next day, he fixed it, and it's, as good as it was, he had an accident. He took care of it. There's been some other problems around the street that I just ignore, just because I don't want people telling me what to do. We had ATVs running up and down the fence for several years, and we just dealt with it. That's where I stand on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else speaking in favor?
My name's Nick Ruiz, R-U-I-S. I actually live at 13537 Pioneer Acres. I rent from Roger Wall. Ever since I've lived there, Chad's been a big help. We're actually working on doing some improvements to our property, and he basically told me, whatever you need, let me know, I'll be down. A couple months ago, it was winter time. My tenants actually didn't roll into the ditch, but slid into the ditch. I wasn't home. And my truck, quite frankly, wouldn't have got him out. That's a 4-foot ditch there. We would have just sat there and spun. He came down with something, I don't know what you pulled him out with, and got him out. I didn't have to deal with it. It was a big relief on my part. I came home and they were out. So, other than that, Chad's just a good guy, and I don't see any reason why not to.
What else want to speak in favor? Want to speak opposed?
Amy Meyer, M-E-Y-E-R. First of all, I want to say Chad is a great neighbor. Very nice. He does do a lot, and he does care about what his property looks like. Our house, we face east, and so we're facing the front of his house. Did they shut up? Not our house, our deck. The back of our house, we face Chad's house. And my concern is, if there are gonna be vehicles, where are they gonna be parked? I enjoy sitting on my deck. We moved out there for the view, and I don't want to sit out on my deck and see vehicles. That is a huge concern of mine. If things, you have a few more trucks, yeah, it will totally affect our property value. We go to sell our home, there's a lot of properties around the area that are total crap holes. And I do not want anything around my house turning that way, because we've spent a lot of money. But I also do know Chad is very respectful to what the neighbors want. He came over one day and was asking, he wanted to make sure something was okay, because he was maybe gonna have to put up a railing for a wall, and I thought that was great, but I have to worry about my property value, and I don't wanna lose my views or anything, because that's why we moved out there, the privacy, so that's my concern. Thank you.
Amy, can I get your address from you real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, 13695 Clearview Lane.
Okay, thank you.
What do you see at your deck right now?
The front of Chad's house
The front of his house.
and I don't know, on the south side of his house is an open area where you moved a lot of that dirt in with the dam. Is that where you're planning vehicles might
No,
be?
gotta talk to us, gotta talk to us.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Okay.
You can ask the question, he'll have a chance.
Yo, Chad, no, but
Good.
I don't wanna see it, like
What was your
his septic
question? What was your
company.
question you wanted to ask him? Ask us,
Where will,
the parking, where will they park?
yeah, where will,
Now we got that written down.
thank you.
Anyone else opposed?
I'm Pat Anderson, and Andersen. I live at 13598 Pioneer Acres. We're the next house before you get to Chad's. Up in our area, there's 3 houses on each side, and then Chad's is kind of up over the hill. To start with, I'm a CPA, and so when we first moved in, I was asked to be the treasurer for our road association. I was provided with our rules. We never did formally incorporate or set up like an LLC or a partnership. But in those rules, there were rules forbidding you to have a business in your home. We'd always kind of let that be lax because most of the people who have had a business in their home have had just a regular pickup or a van that you could buy at a normal car dealer. Chad drives these big septic trucks up and down the road. That's a very different type of vehicle. And occasionally, those vehicles do leak sewage onto the road. I've got grandchildren playing in my yard, and it smells out there at times. I'm really not in favor of this. I know he's talked to my husband, and my husband is fine with it. I'm not. I told him I was coming, and I just think that there's a huge difference between big commercial truck traffic and a pickup going up the road. And I do know that a lot of the gravel and things that have been done have been from our driveway up to his. So yes, he's put in pavement, yes, he's put in gravel, but a lot of that has gone on roads, part of the road that only he would drive on or his employees and customers. I do think it would detract the value of our home, and I guess I don't understand if he does have a place in Mills County where these commercial vehicles could be, why we would change the zoning for the whole area.
We're not changing the zoning.
Okay, well, that's what I thought this was zoning for the whole area,
No zoning.
because it's,
Variance or
that just,
conditional use.
Conditional
okay,
use permit,
okay,
which is just relative, it just would be allowing him for those activities. It doesn't change it into a commercial property or anything like that.
my preference would be that he not have the
Right.
sewer trucks there already, so.
Okay, as a CPA of your association, how much money do you have in your road fund?
I'm not the treasurer anymore.
How much would you estimate?
Probably
Any?
2,000. I don't know. We had a meeting a couple of years ago, and we
Okay,
each put money
that's,
in.
you're still treasurer, okay.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. Art is. He can tell. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Anyone else opposed to it?
Can I come up as neutral?
Sure.
Is that okay?
We'll get in the middle. Anyone else opposed to it, first of all, sir?
I don't.
Just a minute. Is anyone else opposed to it? We'll get those and then we'll.
My name is Tracy McVeigh. I live at 13523 Pioneer Acres. My name is spelled MCVEY. And I think by Chad saying that we are misinformed, we were never informed. So there was a certain group of people that were informed because they live within that 500.
Correct.
Okay? But we were not informed. So I think, this is my opinion, that if he would have come around and talked to everyone, that we wouldn't be in this position that we're in. So yes, we are angry for the fact that we were not informed. We were not approached about, how do you feel about this or anything else. The only people that he approached were the people that he thought he could get on his side. I'm the person that he dumped the dirt on, okay? My husband did the road. We've lived there for over 30 years. He's maintained that road for at least 20 years of that time. Then Darren and Buffy moved in. Then Darren was helping out. And then Chad moved in, and he started helping out. The problem with that is that Chad doesn't know what he's doing when he is helping out on the road. On our road, we have a crown built. So when you take that crown out, the water's going to run right down the middle of it. Okay? We have dug our ditches out. That's already been done. We went through a flooding where Art lives right now. The water ran down our side of the road, went over the road, went into his ditch, and flooded their basement. So we've done all of this before. And so with putting a building in, doing the dirt that he's doing, we're afraid that it's gonna go right back into a flood zone, and we're gonna have that same problem. We don't need our ditches dug out again. They're perfectly fine if we leave it the way it is. If it's changed, that's where you're gonna get runoff from the building that he's planning on building and from making a dam. There was a pond that was up there before. So making it into a dam, if he's filling in that area, where's the water gonna go? And I don't know if he's filling it in, but when you're taking dump trucks full of dirt, I was home yesterday, got home a little after 4, and within that 45-minute time frame, there were 6 dump trucks that went back and forth, dumping dirt. I don't know what kind of dirt it is. I don't know where it's coming from. You know, we have all kinds of questions about that. And so we aren't misinformed, we're uninformed. So I guess that's all, that's why I'm opposed to it.
No, I understand, excuse me, but I understand there's an association there. The last gal was a,
Yeah,
you ever have meetings?
I used to do this
No, not used to.
association
Do you have
myself.
meetings now?
No, we don't, no. When we need money to put rock on the road, we go around and say, hey, we need a couple $100, we throw it in the kitty. And so who has that kitty now is Art, or
Okay.
wherever he's at.
Thank you. What else opposed?
Darren Dimmitt, Dimmitt, 13673 Clearview Lane. I'm neighbors to Amy and Larry here, and he actually has an easement off of my property to get to his property.
Chad does?
Yes, so far as maintaining the road on his property, he is accepted, he has to maintain his own road from their private road that comes up off of Pioneer Acres. I'm opposed to it. I do not like the extra traffic. I would not like the extra traffic. I'm not overly fond of the traffic of the pumping system that he has running out of there now, which is all zoned as residential. That's part of why we built out there 20 years ago, is like Amy and Larry says, the privacy and everything else. My property butts right up to his property on that aspect, and basically sitting out my back deck and everything else, I don't want to see all the traffic and anything else that goes up and down the road. It's zoned as residential, and I strongly suggest it should stay residential. Because I have a $380,000 investment in there. And I don't want to lose my investment on a business that could potentially turn into something else.
The septic, the way I understand it, the septic system has been running there, correct?
Since he's moved in there.
Right.
Correct. As far as zoning or whatever, it's not off of my private road. I am one road to the back. He adjaces up to me. I have no control over that because that's not in our covenants. Our covenants state that we will not run a business out of our private road or our housing development. And what they have is on theirs, but, you know, I don't see why we're gonna be able to, my biggest concern is if this passes through, then one of my neighbors off of our road can come in front of this board and get zoned as.
No, it's not zoning,
It's a conditional use permit.
Right, but there's always that little way of working your way in, and that's what I'm scared of. Everybody on our road, we have an private road association, is our covenants have been kind of compromised here and there with some outbuildings. And I do not want to see this go any farther. If somebody hears that happens over there, they're gonna bring it over into our association. And that's what I'm scared of.
See, and this does not take precedence over your association. We could pass this 100% your association. If it's not allowed in your association, the way I understand it, I'm talking to the county attorney, that your association will take precedent over this. So we could all say yes. We could say yes to a beef plant.
Right.
But your association, which takes precedence over our ruling, can say no beef plant, no septic system, no, that's not very good English, but you know what I mean. So it takes precedence over what we would rule.
Right. I just don't want to get in that position on my side.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't want to lose my property value of looking at something else on the backside of my property. Is my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else opposed?
Evening, my name's Dirk McVeigh, MCVEY, and I live at 13523 Pioneer Acres. My wife and I have lived out there for 31 years. I basically have maintained the road for a lot of those years. Chad has come in and he's helped, but he's also done a lot of damage to the road with his extra traffic. Out of 8 homes, he's probably accounts for over 50% of the traffic on our road and all the heavy-duty traffic. As far as Chad saying he's put $6,000 worth of gravel on our road, if he did put any on it, he was reimbursed through the road association. The only rock he put on it was when he was hauling in earth on a muddy day and muddied up the road to clean up his own mess. The time that he tends to want to take the crown off the road. If you let water run down the middle of the road, it's going to erode the road. So I try and take the shoulders down and build the crown up in the middle of the road, get the water to run straight off into the ditch. So it got a little muddy. So in the middle of the night, he sneaks down to my house and dumps dirt in my driveway. You know, I can't really trust the guy. I mean, number one, I guess, too, is he's been running an illegal business since the day he moved in. Running a septic system business out of his house and running these trucks. And on numerous occasions, we found feces laying in the road down at the end of the road where the kids get on the school bus. Because these guys will forget to close the valve on the back of the truck. They take off, everything in the truck dumps in the road. I guess I really don't know what more to say.
What do you have to maintain the road with? What kind of?
I've got a little tractor with a 3-point blade. Also, when he first moved in, he was pouring concrete and everything, and Ron and Pat had called me. They were having problems with their ditch up there filling full of dirt because of what he was doing. They asked me if I'd come up and talk to him. I went up to try and talk to him. He didn't really want to talk about it. He says he'd been in the concrete business a long time and he knew what he was doing. But their ditch up at the top of the hill is full. You can't get any fuller. There's no water running down through the ditch anymore. It all runs right down the middle of the road until it gets past Ron and Pat's house, and then it drops into the ditch further down the road and is filling in that ditch now. But number one, I guess, you know, he's been running an illegal business up there for 6 years now that he's been here. And now he's wanting to make it legit and expand on it. I don't really want that to happen. And the fact that it is a private road, and we do have covenants on the road, and the covenants say you cannot run a business out of your home.
And like I said, that takes precedence over anything we do.
Okay. So then it's not gonna happen then.
And that's up to the covenants, way we understand it. Correct? Okay.
All right, thank you.
We can rule on this, but the covenants takes precedence over this board.
All right.
Whatever's out in your
And I guess the other issue is with you. You send out these notices to people, well, only within 500 feet. And I can see that working okay on a county road, but when you're on a private road, everybody on that private road should be informed. That takes precedence over a county road. Are you following me?
I understand what you're saying. We mail out our notices based on is what the code says, and the code standard is, and
Well, maybe
every case gets treated the
since
same.
you're that department head, maybe you should change that.
That's the state of Iowa code, isn't it?
That's a state Iowa code?
It trickles down from the state.
Okay. But I'd like to know that maybe you would change that so other
mean, we-
people with private additions don't have this same problem.
We've had people come in before who are unhappy about how far out the notification's gone, and that's why we do our best to get it in the newspapers, to put it on our websites, to post it around through the court, to notify as best we can. And notifications across the county, when you're dealing with the public like this, are always a struggle. If we had an electronic billboard or something like that, I'd put it on that for you. I try to do as many different ways as I can, but at the same time, when you look at a private road addition and you say we should not mail out notices to everybody, at some point in time, I could wind up mailing, 100 more, which I have to be responsible with your tax dollars when they come to our office to say that realistically, what can we do to notify people in the best manner? And that's what I try to do.
Okay, so are you the individual that I contact the next time I find feces laying in the middle of the road?
I would definitely like to hear about that.
Okay.
We have had issues. I've never had a complaint from that road saying that there's a pumper truck
Well,
that's
I've
spilled
tried to
anything
be
on
a
it.
good neighbor, but Chad, he sneaks down in the middle of the night.
Last
Let's
Last summer,
get to the facts, please.
last summer,
Well, that is a fact.
we dealt
Well,
with,
yeah, that's,
Dealt with.
we're not gonna do,
last summer, we dealt with
Topic,
several big sewage spills of people cleaning out lagoons out on the eastern side of the county. And, so we always act right away. We get our inspectors right out the minute we hear something like that. We get the roads department out there too to do, it'd be a little bit different in your situation, but we get the roads department out there to do cost assessments for them. And those people will reimburse whatever it takes to get those roads back up to par. But we do not take sewage spills lightly. We get out there and we notify the DNR, and we have the DNR out there with us.
Okay. All right, thank you.
anyone else opposed? Opposed? We'll go neutral. I guess first time I ever had a neutral.
Art Noble, 13486 Pioneer Acres, NOBLE. I'm actually here representing my wife as well. She's been out there 30 years. I bought the house from my in-laws 4 or 5 years ago. I say I'm neutral because I can see why Chad wants to do it, and I understand his theory behind it. I say I'm not neutral because I've got young kids out there, and I don't really want to see the 20,000-pound trucks going up and down the road, or a car lot up there. That being said, Chad has been instrumental in doing snow removal on the road, keeping it passable. Him and Dirk both have done, gone to great lengths to keep it going. So that's why I say I'm neutral. I don't want to say I'm for it or against it. I just want you to know the facts. About 2 years ago, we had a meeting to throw in money for gravel for the road. The paperwork was held in hand and said, who wants to be president? And nobody wanted it, so I said, I'll take it. I have a big filing cabinet. So other than that, there's about $500 in the account, and it's in a no interest account, no nothing. It just sits there when we need rock. I holler at everybody, say it's gonna cost $2,000. 8 houses, do the math. So that's where I stand on it.
Since I'm neutral, I wanna ask you this question then. Everything I've heard, a lot of what I've heard tonight is all the traffic from the septic trucks, correct? That's what I've heard a lot of.
I've heard a decent amount of that, yeah.
That, from what I understand from the application, is not going to change.
No, we want it done away with.
No, I'm just saying, that's been going on.
That's been going on for a while, yeah. It's actually gotten a little bit better, I do have to say, because he used to run that semi up and down the road.
Right, that's,
He'd fill up at his house and then take it and dump it. He quit doing that, so the semi-traffic's gone, it's just his trucks. I work long hours, I'm not home all day long, you know, I'm home on the
Right.
weekends and, you know, this weekend was a
that's what
little,
I'm trying to get function through my mind, is
Yeah.
the septic system is gonna basically stay the same. The traffic.
to the best of our knowledge,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He hasn't said that he was gonna change that at all.
Okay, thank you. Closing statement. Chad, would you like to have a closing statement?
Well, as far as our septic company is concerned, we're not anticipating increasing that at all. So I think we've actually grown, and then over the last 3 to 4 years, we've actually dropped the work off. So I've noticed that we've reached our climax, and now it's actually tapered back down. And now we're plateauing back out somewhere in between. As far as an easement, never knew there was an easement to go on my driveway. If you look on Pottawattamie County, it's cut out around that. Never heard of an easement to get into my own property, and that's the first I've heard of that. As far as sewage, if there's a sewage issue, it should be addressed immediately and right away, and it needs to be told to the Pottawattamie County Health Department, because that's not something that I'm even aware of. I already know that's taken very seriously because we've gone out for the county. KMOCA had us gone out for the county and do sewage cleanup for people that have illegally dumped their septic systems in ditches, stuff like that. It's very expensive. So we, as a septic company, to get a bad reputation, then we are actually contaminating the environment, we're out of business. There's absolutely nothing for us to stand on that we are doing septic service type work when it should be going to a treated waste facility, and it's not. And if it's not, it needs to be reported right away. We don't do any filling of trucks. We don't take, trucks up there to our property and fill them and that type of stuff. I know there was one question you said you had wrote down.
Now, where would you park the trucks that, I assume you're gonna park the
They would
trucks
be, yeah, they would be
the
up
ones
on
that
the,
you've been running, I assume they will stay parked where they have been?
yes, on
There hasn't been an issue
on the
with-
same north end of our
Yeah.
property, and that's where any continuing trucks would be parked
Where
along
would
the
the
same
trucks,
area.
if you had them, if I bought a truck from you online, where would you park that truck?
My intent is to actually bring the truck down to like Dallas Johnson and go there as opposed to having traffic. I don't want people at my property any more than I want the neighbors to have people coming up. I don't want them to see what I have up there. I don't need robbed. I've been broke into before. I don't want that. I don't need them to see that, oh, well, if I come up here, in the afternoon, nobody's here, and I can break in and steal whatever they've got. If they purchase something online, we drive it down the road and we would actually load it in, the Caterpillar lot or
That would
Dallas
be to you,
Johnson.
that would come to your house.
What's that?
The one online, would that come to your house?
Yes, we'd unload that, bring it to our property, if anything, detail it, power wash it, whatever, drive it back out, load it on a truck, and it'd be gone. As far as our dam, the intent of that is to reinforce the dam and move the water, instead of it being right against the dam, to move the water location back. So it's not that we're trying to get rid of holding this water. And technically, my property, any natural water drainage, I shouldn't be responsible to hold it anyway. It's natural runoff. A dam was put in to help somebody. Maybe I don't want the dam anymore. My neighbor's talked to me. He's told me multiple times. He said, if you want to take the dam out, you can. And I said, I don't want it to flood your house. It comes straight down to your house. So if I build that up and and still retain that water in that area, then we're not going to have that issue. The thing I don't want is to have that thing full and then end up with it blowing out. And now, instead of having just, a rain, that floods it. Now we got this entire wall of water that now takes out his basement
The
wall.
dam isn't really our deal, I
Um,
understand.
Mosquitoes have been an issue. I have fought every year since I've been there to keep the mosquitoes down and dye the water and keep water in there, you know, that deters the mosquitoes. So,
But as far as the traffic, how long would you anticipate a truck being there on, if you bought it online?
honestly, I don't know.
I assume you have
What's
you have
that?
a buyer for it when you buy it online?
No, not initially, I would not, and that's why I say, you know, it may sit there. It may
Where
sit
will it
there a
sit?
month. Up on the north side of our property, right with our other trucks. We were keeping the trucks in line, and then we had that fire, and then the one burnt the next one. Luckily, we didn't have other equipment sitting there, like a backhoe and a skid loader, because they were out on a job. Otherwise, those would have burnt right down the row. So that was another reason that we're bringing this extra dirt in, because I talked to my insurance company as well as some other people, and they're like, put 10 feet between your vehicles if you can. That way, if one catches fire, it doesn't start the next one on fire. And the heat from the one is what started the process of burning the other one. And, but I guess the biggest thing that I've got to relay is that I live there as well. It's not that I'm, you know, putting in a big dealership or anything like that.
Have
I've
you already
done-
sold some trucks?
Pardon?
Have you sold trucks already?
No, sir. No, sir. And a lot of it was when I got very scared when we almost lost our company. And I thought, what can I do to also maybe utilize equipment like boom lifts and the dump truck for rock, as well as maybe purchase a few vehicles and resell them to have extra income so that I don't have essentially all my eggs in one basket and have the same situation that was so unfortunate happen again.
What about the building? Are you you want to build the building?
We already have buildings out there
And you planning to
that we plan on using.
put trucks in?
The building that we were talking about was a building that we've been anticipating for about 4 years to be able to put our own trucks in. And the big thing is during the winter, that was what caught this truck or had this truck catch fire, was the fact that we had it plugged in because it was a diesel. And that's what started the fire, is the block heater that was on that truck. So if we could park our trucks inside, then we've got them inside of a heated building that we don't have that. And the building that we're anticipating putting up is no bigger than the one that actually is already right below me. He's got a building the exact same size. So it's about 50 by 80, I'm guessing. So
Mine's 40 by 80.
40 by 80, yeah. So we were looking at, you know, a 50 by 80 or 50 by 100 building to put up that matched our house, same colors. So
And then all trucks would be put inside that?
no, on a building that size, it would not fit all trucks or all equipment.
So how many would be in there?
We anticipated putting 4 because we have the 3, and then the other area would be to put like our skid loader and our excavator inside.
So just your business
And to
ones,
clean up,
the
yeah,
sewer
to-
business stuff.
Yeah,
and
to
then-
make it look
And the
better.
other car selling ones would be outside.
Yes, essentially just like they are right now, like you had asked. I mean, just
But you said that backed up, what is your plan for this building?
for the building.
The time frame?
With our fire we just had, I'm
But-
probably 3 to a minimum of 5 years out
So,
because of what we lost and what we had planned for money wise. We are now, it's been wiped away. It's been washed and wiped away. So that's gone.
any questions for Chad? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, Matt, do you have some information or anything for us?
You have a question in the back, did you?
Huh?
In the back, do you have a question?
Well, you can't.
I raised his hand.
Yeah.
Based on the preliminary recommendation of the planning department is to approve the request for rural enterprise business, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the total area of the rural enterprise business shall not exceed 1 acre, including the building, which shall be limited to the 1,500 square feet of indoor space, parking areas and any outside storage areas are included in that 1 acre. All work performed on the property must occur within the building situated on the property. Number two, that if the applicant does construct the 50 by 100, 5,000 square foot building as stated on his application, only 1,500 feet of the building may be utilized for the rural enterprise business. Rural enterprise business activities would then need to cease in the other location identified as number 1 on the applicant's map. Any outside storage of materials would be behind a site obscuring fence. Any hazardous waste and byproducts, emissions produced by these businesses must be stored and or disposed of in conformance with federal, state, and local regulations. That's based on the following findings of fact. The subject property is located in the Class A4 district. The zoning ordinance adopted in conjunction with the land use plan stipulates that rural enterprise business is a permitted conditional use in the A4 district. The area dedicated to the business is less than the 1,500 square feet. The business will consist of 2 employees, 1 employee and the property owner, being those 2. No on-street parking is permitted with this land use, nor is any proposed by the applicant. Per the applicant, there will be no 18-wheeler or semi-traffic coming to this location. The existing road system is adequate to accommodate the said business. The owner of the property resides at this location as the owner-operator of the business, and the hazardous waste and byproducts and emissions would be disposed of in conformance of the federal, state, and local regulations.
What was that part about the road again, Matt? That they'd have to maintain it?
That is something
That's a private road, so.
It is a private road. The road system that is adequate to handle it. We spoke with John Rasmussen, the engineer.
Okay.
We're speaking of the Pioneer Trail that comes to the property.
Okay, not the private road. Okay, that's all, I'll make sure. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay, if not, I'd ask for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Then moved and second to close public hearing.
Discussion.
As I said before, it sounds to me like the septic, I don't know if you wanna call it business, the way I understand it, didn't need to be business before. I mean, this is,
He's correct in a violation on that part. When he came in to inquire about doing this part was when I brought to his attention, I said, if you're operating your septic trucks off that property, you're in violation of the zoning ordinance now, and that needs to be corrected.
so that's what we're,
Are we meeting then more for it or for the truck business he wants to start selling?
I think it's all together.
It's all together.
All together.
And there was no before he moved there was no septic business there.
There was a business, there was a waterproofing business.
Waterproofing business, but they didn't, it doesn't matter because that would change ownership.
We didn't have any complaints on anything up in that area up until this time.
Okay.
My thought is on if we're gonna approve it, I think we need to put some stipulations on numbers as we've done in the past. As far as possibly how many septic trucks there can be, definitely how many other trucks can be on the property. It's just like we've done in the past, that you can have 2, 3, whatever the number happens to be, of trucks that you can sell. Cause I agree, you don't wanna, I wouldn't want a used car lot next to me. So, we need to put stipulations on possibly both, so you don't have 20 septic tanks or trucks going back and forth too. And if his business would expand, then he would need to come back in and apply for another change of the condition, correct?
He would.
Okay.
I would like something visually, either a fence or inside the building or something, if it was me, as a neighbor, to try to do that.
Those were in the list of conditions that we have now about all the work activity being conducted inside the business, or inside the building, and that, anything to be stored outside was in the rural enterprise business behind the site obscuring fence.
So he's going to make a fence,
He would be stipulated to.
make a fence.
And what kind of privacy fence?
Well, if we wanted to,
Does it have to be wood or?
the whole thing is the size of trucks that we're talking about. If we just say it's gotta be behind a privacy fence, 6-foot fence is not gonna hide a truck that size. So,
Sometimes your privacy fence after the first couple of years look worse than looking at a truck. If you don't maintain them.
I guess I wish I could see it in the topography, how it really looks, or how
We can do
much
that.
it is.
We can
you
do
know.
that.
we could tour that property.
I think I would like to do that, because I can't really, from what they're saying,
Mhm.
really get the view of what would you really see. If he's up on the
It
hill and
seems like
back
everybody has different
viewpoints.
We've seen a few different views, haven't we? That'd be good. I mean, that's within our right. We can meet next month and go out and view it. That works.
I would like to do that.
And then that would give us time to nail down the number of vehicles and what to do about the site obscuring condition.
Like I say, sometimes those fences are good, sometimes they're not.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't maintain them, you got an eyesore with that too, so. Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay. Motion to continue it next month to view the property. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Seconded by Lisa. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Now, the way this works is the public hearing has been concluded. We will go out and view it. Chad will be there, I assume, he'll have to be. We'll view it, we'll come back and we'll make a ruling. There'll be no more discussion or talking. We just, amongst the board, we can, but the public hearing has been closed. So that's the way that works, okay? So,
What day would that be?
That will be an open meeting.
oh, it's an open meeting, yeah, everybody's invited.
Oh, all right,
We're just not
I
gonna go
was
through
gonna say,
it.
how are we gonna be notified
I can
on
see
the
some
ruling?
faces.
Okay, thank you. It's an open meeting, we just won't go through the,
Thank
Yeah,
All
you.
right.
there just won't be no,
Got a quick-
excuse me, Chairman. You are, would you notify us so you could get Amy Meyer and Larry Meyer's point of view also? And,
we'll set a time here just a second. We'll be there
oh
at,
no, when you guys come out.
Right,
That'd be an
right.
open meeting too. Okay.
yep.
Okay.
Anybody, it's open.
What time?
No, when you guys
It'll
come
be
out.
it'll be posted on the
No, yeah, that's,
No, he's talking about.
we will set a time. It'll be,
How that's gonna look.
we'll set it right now. It'll be, what's the date of the meeting?
27th.
It'll be the 27th at, how far are we from?
To get back here by 5:30.
No, what I'm getting at, you can come out here.
It's about a 15-minute drive at least.
Yeah, what?
It's a 15-minute drive at least.
So we'll be there at 5 o'clock, 4:45?
4:45?
So we
4:45 on the 27th. We will be there. Does that work?
That's perfect.
Okay.
So we'll leave.
Any of the board members who would like to ride with me out there, you can meet us at our office at we'll say 4:20.
Okay.
And then we can leave from my office to go out there.
We do this quite often. This isn't anything new, because it's hard to, we want to be fair. So that's what we'll do. Good point. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Case ZV 2017-01. We'll wait just a second. Thank you, people, for coming. We appreciate your input.
Yeah, yeah, you can picture I can
I know you have your own pictures, but I got a couple.
Okay, yeah, sorry to
I
get
just
back.
wanted everybody else to see too, if that's okay.
Sure, thank you.
Last smile and everything look at it.
Yep.
Who's your dad?
Okay.
Stepdad. We're family. By marriage. mute up.
Oh, good, no
Okay.
camera.
Yeah.
Just the one in back, right?
You sure you wanna do this?
Should've had you go
I,
first.
I hope this isn't gonna be quite like that.
We do too. Okay, open case ZB 2017-01, Matthew and Jamie Dowell.
Yes.
Okay,
I am Matthew Dowell, last name Dowell. Live at 15279 Pinecrest Drive. Here asking for a 2-foot variance so I can build a shop in my backyard. Just a personal shop so I can work on my own stuff. I'm a car guy, I like to work on cars. The reason we're building the shop is we had a property on State Orchard Road, right off 92, that was affected by the Eastern Hills Drive project. So we had to move. And we had to move fairly quickly, and this was one of the only properties that we found that really kind of fit us. Before we bought the property, I looked into, can I build a building there? And I was told, oh yeah, you can build a building there, but I didn't inquire to the height of the building. I was told the size was fine, but I never inquired the height.
so that was through the planning committee.
Well, that was through, yeah, his office, the gal that answers the phones, chatted with me for quite a while and said, oh yeah, that property has enough room to build another building.
Just never.
But we didn't talk about height of the building, and that's where the issue came in. So as you can see in the paperwork, the building that I plan on building is in that paperwork right there. Like I said, the purpose of the building is for my own shop, and one of the things that I need for it is 12-foot ceilings inside, so I can put a lift in there, get cars up off the ground, or get my car off the ground. Get kind of old for crawling underneath it. As you can see, it's 3 bays. 2 bays are gonna be working on the car, either on the ground or up in the air. The 3rd bay is for my fire truck. I've always wanted to be able to park it indoors, and I planned on building a building on my other property to do that, but we lost that property, so this building would also be for that, and that's kind of a little bit of a height problem too, is making sure there's enough height for that to get in there and be in there.
Where is it going to be in relationship to,
If
in the back?
you look at those pictures, you see where that fire truck and that
Yes.
other shed is sitting. Those would be moved, and that is where it would be sitting. And I did have a plot plan with, application. I don't know if you guys or can see that. But it's gonna be in that open space right there. All that stuff would move.
And were you gonna have a drive back to that?
There won't be a paved drive to get back there. What it'll be is, the fire truck will have to go around the building through the grass, but that only happens, well, right now it doesn't happen at all because I'm rebuilding the engine, but when it does, 2-3 times a year. The main traffic is the other garage that is there will have a door in the back of it, and you just drive straight through it to get to the other one, so. There's another garage, and you look at the picture of the front of the house, there's that 2-stall garage off to the left.
So you're gonna open the back of that up and drive straight through?
Yeah, put an overhead door in the back side of it, so there'll be one on each side, and you open both doors and drive straight through. So. But there will be, from the building to the other garage is about 30 feet. There will be a concrete pad between the 2 buildings. But there just won't be anything that comes around that other building to the front, because that's a little more concrete.
So you're gonna mostly drive straight through and go straight in?
Straight through and straight in, yep.
Okay.
So, and as I understand it, by code, I can build the building. My builder says they can build it at 16 feet, but that will leave me with a near flat roof. And it's not an aesthetically pleasing building when you have a flat roof. And then you get those years where you have the freak snows and stuff like that, and you have to worry about snow load, stuff like that. And I don't wanna run into that. I'd like more of an aesthetically pleasing building. I have talked to my neighbors that are directly behind me and beside me, the 2 that, would be looking at it the most. They didn't seem to have a bit of a problem with it. I don't see them here, so I would assume that, would be that. Didn't make it around to everybody, didn't have a chance to, but, those would be really the 2 people that would see the most of it, because it's back there on the corner, so. And as far as seeing it from the road, it's gonna be behind that other building, so you might see the top of it a little bit, but you're not really gonna see most of the building. Not missing anything in my hand.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah.
Anyone else in favor? It's your chance. Anyone opposed? Heck of a fight when you get home. Matt.
Scared you was gonna get up there when you said opposed.
Matt, you have information for us.
Recommendation of the planning department is to approve the application subject to the following condition. The proposed building shall be set back a minimum of 8 feet from the side yard and 8 feet from the rear yard. It's based on the following findings of fact. The aforementioned condition shall reduce the potential visual and aesthetic impacts of the line of sight for which the height restriction was adopted. The subject property is 1.08 acres. The average lot size in the average lot sizes in the subdivision are substantially smaller than the subject property.
Yeah, I have a question on this. The code says 16 feet.
In the R3 district, there is a height requirement of 16 feet, yes.
If we approve this, are we changing the code?
No, Pam and I did a lot of research into looking through, what we've done here, and the basic difference between what they're looking at and what it was there for is their lot size is actually it's double and a little bit more than everybody else. So, I mean, if you had a double the lot size, about this acre lot size, it would hold a building like this. Their neighboring property owners that have a 50 by 100 lot, if they were to come in and ask for something like this, I mean, that lot would not hold.
So the lot would be the difference?
Yeah.
We can't, okay, that was my concern.
Mm-hmm. That was our concern as well.
Right.
When we originally looked at this, because we had done them outside of the platted subdivisions before.
It's kind of like the sign thing, all of a sudden you're rewriting code.
Yeah, and so when we looked at this, that's what we put our focus on was, you got double the lot size of what everybody else has there.
I mean, it makes sense, I just don't wanna do the
There's plenty of room for
supervisor's
the building to
job
go
there.
in. From the distance from his garage and such. The distance between the buildings, there's plenty of room for that.
There is, you have a minimum distance of 10 feet between buildings unless they're gonna be connected. Normally, once you get behind the back line of your house, you can go 4 feet to the sideline and 4 feet to the rear property line with your setbacks. So by pushing the building in just a little bit, then it'll give a little bit more clearance for the light and stuff coming
And that
around
can
it.
happen, there's not a problem with moving it 8 and 8?
No, you should be fine.
Any other? Nobody else wants to testify, I'll ask for a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Discussion. I think it looks like a
I think
good deal.
it's a good deal to me. I
Okay.
think I recommend that we approve it based on the recommendations of our staff.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Then moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Tenero?
Here.
Herder?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
It has been granted.
So
Any other thing for tonight?
No other business tonight, Mr. Chairman?
I'd make a motion, ask for a motion to adjourn.
I have to get to that motion, yes.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are we done? I do have a couple